Hey, hey, Nikki, how you doing? Good afternoon. There we go. Had to fix my screen for a minute. Hello, hello. So welcome to anyone on the live or the replay. Hello there on Facebook. How are you? Good afternoon. It's good to see you. My name is Jewel Martin. I am the CEO, owner, and instructor of Jumpstart with Jewel, where we tutor adolescent and adult students, specialize in helping students that have special needs such as ADHD, dyslexia, autism. And so all this week and last week as well, we've been working. Hi, Hope. How are you? It's good to see you. We have been working on fractions. As I shared before, this topic is one of the topics that many of my students, adult and adolescent students, struggle with. I have some adult students as well as students under the age of 18, minor students. And for whatever reason, fractions are intimidating. And so we've been going over fractions. So I encourage you to share this out. If you know anyone that has any children that are having issues with fractions or math in general, or maybe you know an adult or you are the adult. Maybe you're going back to school, maybe you're going to get your GED or taking an entrance exam. And on many of those entrance exams, they have a math portion, and a lot of times you're going to see fractions. So today, because we've been working with fractions, what we're going to go over are the three types of fractions. And this is where some of the confusion comes in. So hopefully once you watch this video, it'll make things a little bit clearer for you. Let me move this over so I can see better. There we go. That's better. Okay. Sorry. So we've got three types of fractions. The first type of fraction is known as the proper fractions. These are the fractions that most people are used to seeing. This fraction is where the numerator, the number on top, is smaller than the denominator. So an example of this fraction might be 5/6 or 8/10 or I don't know 12/15. So remember, the numerator is usually that's the number on top. That's the number that we're talking about. The number that we're referring to, the one that we're shading in. The denominator, the number on the bottom, is the total number of parts. So for instance, if the fraction is 8/10, if you're looking at a picture of a fraction, in that fraction, 8 would be the parts that are shaded in, and 10 would be the total number of parts in the entire shape or group. Okay. Improper fractions, this is where some of the confusion comes in. This is where the numerator is equal or greater to the denominator. It's improper. It really doesn't make sense, to be honest. That's why with improper fractions, you can't leave them like that. So an improper fraction would be a fraction like 8/6, or you might even see a fraction where you have 12/12. Sometimes they show them like that, and we don't leave them like that either. We usually just make that into a 1, a whole. Or you might have one where it's 15/10. Again, when you think about improper fractions, they don't make sense. Because how can you be considering or shading in 15 parts, but the total number of parts for the fraction is 10? So that's why they're usually converted to mixed fractions. And that's the next type of fractions. Either mixed fractions or also known as mixed numbers. These consist of a whole number and a proper fraction. So when you're looking at these, you will see a whole number such as 2 1/6, or you might see 3 2/5, something like that. So in this, you see these circles here. We've got some shapes here, and they've already been divided up into 8 parts. So right here, where we have the proper fraction. I'm going to use the same fraction so that you can understand. Hopefully it'll make more sense. So for instance, all of these circles are divided into 8 parts. Sorry, I live near the Air Force Base if you're hearing the helicopters over. So all these fractions are in 8 parts. All these circles, rather, they've been divided into 8 parts. So for instance, a proper fraction, if I'm going to make this a proper fraction, let me get my little highlighter. Thank you for the hearts. You're so sweet. So we're going to shade these in. 1, 2, 3. I'm going to do 5/8, I think. Yeah. Okay. So I've shaded that in. So I've shaded in 5 parts. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. I've shaded in 5 parts. And this fraction has a total, excuse me, this circle has a total of 8 parts. So this fraction is 5/8. Okay. I'm going to go over here to my next one. Now this is the improper fraction. This is the one where the denominator is smaller than the numerator. The numerator is bigger. This is like, it's almost like it's reversed. It's improper again. It's just, it doesn't make sense, if you will. So let's say I'm going to do this. I'm going to make this 12. I'm going to show you guys something. 1, 2, 3, 4. Because I'll show you how we're going to actually turn this in, convert this into a mixed number. So I'm going to shade in this whole fraction. And then I'm going to shade in a part of this one as well. 1, 2, 4. Okay. So in this fraction, we shaded in the entire circle here. That's all 8 parts. And then we shaded in 4 parts over here. So of course 8 plus 12, excuse me, 8 plus 4 is 12. And then the denominator is still 8. And this is why when you look at an improper fraction, you're like, that doesn't make sense, because how you're going to have 12 and the denominator is 8. And that's why we're going to get into mixed fractions in a minute. This next one is the mixed fraction, where you have the whole number and the numerator and the denominator are proper fraction. I'm going to go ahead and shade in the same portion as I did for the improper fraction, but I'm going to write it as a mixed number or a mixed fraction. And then I'll show you how to do that using division. Let me switch out my highlighter. So same thing. I'm going to color all of this in. And if you haven't done so yet, I encourage you to share this out. So it may help someone that's dealing with fractions. So in this instance, since these are mixed fractions or mixed numbers, you may hear both words, both phrases used interchangeably. I'm going to write this as a mixed number or a mixed fraction. I have a whole circle here that's been shaded in, so I'm going to write that as 1. And then this portion over here, you have 4. 4 of the parts have been shaded in. The denominator is 8. So as a mixed fraction or a mixed number, this is 1 4/8. Now, if you did not have a picture to look at and to make this, to decide, okay, how does she get 1 4/8? What you would do would be division. Division is the way that you transform the improper fraction into a mixed fraction or mixed number. So let me see if I've got some space down here. Okay, let me insert a blank page. Okay, give me 1 minute. Let me get some more room. There we go. Okay, so I'm going to scroll down a little bit. So here we go. So in order to turn an improper fraction into a mixed number, you have to divide. You would actually turn this fraction into a division problem. And we'll do it here. All right, 8 divided by 12. So if you remember division, Here 8 is your divisor, and then 12 is going to be your dividend. So if you know your multiplication facts, how many groups of 8 can you make out of 12? How many times will 8 go into 12? And it only will go in one time. So you put the 1 up here, and then you multiply. 1 times 8 is 8. Then we subtract. 12 minus 4. Now, if you have to regroup, if you have to do it that way, that's fine. Turn that into a 0. That becomes a 1. 12 minus 8 is 4. In this case, instead of being a 1 with a remainder of 4, this 4, you actually put it up here. This becomes your numerator, and the divisor, the 8, is still your denominator. So here we have 1 and 4/8, the same as we have here, up here, showing the picture, the model of the fractions of 1 and 4/8. So if you didn't have a picture or a model to look at, that's the way you would do improper fractions. You would divide it. Let's try another one. So if I had an improper fraction of, let's say 16 tenths. Let's just say 16 tenths. And I wanted to divide. So here you go again. 10 would go into 16 one time. 1 times 10 is 10. You subtract. You make this a 6. And then that would be your mixed number, 1 and 6/10. Now there are instances, and we're not going to go over it today because we're going to go over reduced fractions another day, but there are going to be instances where you may have to reduce or simplify your mixed number, your mixed fraction. And in that case, you're only going to simplify the portion of the number that's a fraction and not the whole number. But that concludes the lesson, the mini lesson for today. The 3 types of fractions: proper, improper, and mixed numbers or mixed fraction. So I hope that was helpful. So you all have an awesome day. Take your time. Fractions can be fun, believe it or not. And you have a great day, and I will see you tomorrow. Have a good one. Take care. Bye-bye.